Now, Sri P. Rajeeve, do you want to speak now or come to the chair?
Thank you, sir.
You prefer
After
what?
this, I will.
Eh?
Sir, actually, I heard the speeches of most of my colleagues.
So, after your speech, you have to come here. So,
Okay.
make a brief speech only.
Sir, the most of the terminology, normally myself and Comrade Rajya use in this budget speech, already taken over by the colleagues already participate in the discussion.
Then no need of your
This
speech.
corporatization and the budget against the interest of the poor, all this type of term, revenue foregone, that is always, JTG always coined against us. This time you have changed the title of that thing also. But our colleagues already taken up that terminology also. But I request
So,
all the members.
nothing is left to you.
Then I request all the members to stand firm. Yeah, I am coming to that point again. Sir, I request all the members, while taking on the legislation for the corporatization of the country, they should stand against this type of policy by voting. I expect all colleagues should do on this, the important legislative process, sir. Sir, I tried to read the budget speeches of UPA and the speeches of then opposition leader and other opposition members. Sir, this budget is a continuation of the policies of UPA government. That is, they are trying to carry forward aggressively the 1991 neoliberal policies. They tried their best to carry forward that. Sir, I tried to get the copies of the then leader of opposition with JTG. We had several wonderful speeches by Mr. Arun Jaitley in this house, particularly on budget. But I could not find out the speech on 2013-14 because at that time nobody could speak on budget because we jointly, opposition jointly obstruct the budget discussion. The word obstruction is used with the new terminology in the budget discussion. Whether it is obstruction or it is constructive, it depends upon the perspective. If you look through the eyes of the corporate, then the obstruction to the policies is obstructive. If we look through the eyes of the common man of this country, then this obstructive change as a constructive approach. Sir, this protest, agitation, obstruction is a part of democracy. In our concept, this obstruction, it is entirely different from obstructive policies. If we try to obstruct a budget which intends to protect 1% of the super rich of this country, then it is constructive for the common man of this country. It is constructive to protect the interest of the country. Sir, I recall Arun Jaitley's speech on Union Budget 2012-13. In that speech, Mr. Jaitley quoted the 106 paragraph of the budget speech of Dr. Manmohan Singh. The recent years have witnessed an excessive reliance. We can speak at any time because there is no chance to sit there in the recent years. That is the answer you are trying to formulate in your mind. But sir, recent years you have witnessed an excessive reliance on indirect tax for additional resource mobilization. This escalates cost, fuels, inflation and its regressive impact. Therefore, I have not relied on indirect tax as a major source of resource mobilization. This is from 1991 budget speech and Arun Jaitley demanded that this should be implemented. I have the full text of the speech of Jaitley on 2012-13. But sir, what is the trend of the budget presented by Mr. Arun Jaitley in the Lok Sabha? The budget proposal will reduce direct tax by rupees 8,315 crores. That is benefiting the rich. And increase the burden of the people through indirect tax hike of rupees 23,383 crores. Apart from direct tax benefit, in addition, some of my colleagues already mentioned that wealth tax has been abolished, corporate tax target to reduce from 30 to 25%, greater concession and access to FTI and FII, absolve of capital gain tax and minimum alternative tax matter. Sir, a progressive taxation implies that individual and corporate pay taxes according to their ability to pay. The composition of indirect and direct tax is an index to evaluate the structure of a taxation of a country. Direct tax is entirely different from indirect tax. This fuel, petrol, around 50% of the total cost is tax, it is indirect tax. And I went through the entire speech. Rajeeve mentioned several types impact of indirect tax on economy. Sir, for every rupees 100 collected as tax revenue, approximately rupees 30 comes from direct and the rest from indirect tax. Sir, while comparing to other countries, now our Honorable Finance Minister, while trying to decided to reduce the corporate tax, is mentioned the international experience. Then I would like to invite the Honorable Finance Minister attention to the international experience on the composition of direct and indirect tax. Sir, India it is only 30% direct tax. China it is 34.4% direct tax. Indonesia 45.8% of tax is direct tax. Russia 50.3% is direct tax. Brazil 55.3% is direct tax. South Africa 59.6% is direct tax. Mexico, this is direct tax. You are discussing about corporate tax. I am mentioning about the direct tax proposition, the total tax. This is, you are thinking about the corporate interest. That is why you are mentioning this. South Africa, this Mexico, it is 64.1%. This is the international experience. Why the minister is trying to implement this trying to raise the direct tax? Instead of that, the minister tried to increase the indirect tax and decrease the direct tax. This is totally against the interest of the country, sir. Sir, now I am coming to the another international experience. The last budget discussion I also tried to mention that is tax GDP ratio. Our country is the lowest in the G20 countries. And BRICS also, our position is very lowest. Sir, tax GDP ratio, China, 24.4%. South Africa, 28.2%. Russia, 30.6%. Brazil, 33.7%. Sir, increase in 1% means increase of 1.41 lakh crores to the revenue of this country. If the tax GDP ratio are same as China, then India would get an additional revenue of rupees 9.87 lakhs crores, sir. And if it is as same as Brazil, then we would get an additional revenue of rupees 22.56 lakh crores. Then no question of this type of deficit, sir. Sir, the government is trying to give more concession to corporates. Already mentioned by Lane colleagues, I would not like to go to the details. Abolishment of wealth tax. I quote the Finance Minister's speech, I quote, should a tax which leads to high cost of collection and a low yield be continued or should be replaced with a low cost and high tax yield tax? This is the logic for the abolishment of wealth tax by the Finance Minister. Sir, in 2001-2002, the cost of wealth tax collection was 53.8% of the actual wealth tax. That is true. But what is the reality now? This cost of wealth tax collection is decreased to 9%. That is true. This logic is true only 2001-2. But at that time it is 53.8%. Now it has been reduced to 9%. That logic is not suited for this in 2015-16 budget, sir. This is only for giving more benefit to corporates. You have imposed one super tax. That is not come to the tax component which is given share to the state. There is no constitutional liability to the center to give a share from this to the state government. That is my understanding. As says. Then, Our finance minister follows Mr. Chidambaram's path in the GAR, already mentioned. 2012, that house and this house passed the finance bill with GAR along with retrospective implementation. At that time, Jetiji has taken the same position, he is against retrospective taxation. But two houses of the parliament passed a finance bill with retrospective taxation. The then finance minister, Mr. Chidambaram, constituted a single-man committee, Parthasarathi Shom. On the basis of his recommendation, he deferred the decision of the parliament of the country, representing the nation. On the recommendation of a single person, Mr. Chidambaram deferred that decision for implementation of GAR. At that time, what was the reason? The reason, administrative was not ready for its implementation. I quote, administrative was not ready for its implementation and will only result in scaring the investors. 2015, the same reason. This is maximum governance. Why this government could make the administration is ready for implementation of GAR? That is not the valid reason. This is to protect the interest of the corporates. Sir, Brazil introduced GAR 2001. China introduced GAR 2006. UK introduced GAR with retrospective taxation. I had mentioned the last budget speech also. And also G20 and OECD, the base erosion and profit shifting, BEPS. This is in line, in tuning with this BEPS, that is with the international scenarios. Then there is no valid reason for deferring the implementation of GAR for another 2 years. This is only to protect the interest of the multinational corporations, sir. Finance Minister repeated that the reduction in corporate tax is considering the international scenario and for attracting investment. If this tendency is continuing, this is only in developing countries. When next year some countries ready to reduce the corporate tax to 20%, then what is the end? The end is this country should become a tax haven. India should take the leadership against this type of policies, reducing the corporate tax. Look into the developed countries. Why these developing countries competing for giving more concession? Sir, I request the government. We have a very good tradition in the international scenario as a leader of third world countries. We should take the leadership against this type of decreasing corporate tax for the benefit of the multinational companies and finance capital. Sir, if you are going to the international scenario, why the minister is not ready to increase the direct tax component as per the international scenario? Why the government is not ready for increasing the tax GDP ratio? Why the government is not ready to implement the GAR? They are not ready for implement GAR, these type of things, because this is for the interest of the common man in this country. This is for the interest of the nation. But this corporate tax reduction to protect the interest of the finance capital. Sir, actually genuine investors are not scared about the tax. I would like to quote American business magnate, not a left economist. That is Warren Buffett. I quote, I have worked with investors for 60 years and I have yet to see anyone, not even when capital gain rates were 39.9% in 1976-77, shy away from a sensible investment because of the tax rate on the potential gain, unquote. This is the words from Warren Buffett, 2011 New York Times. This is the opinion of the capitalist. Then why are you trying to giving more and more concession than they want?
We are neo-capitalists.
Yeah, yes. But this is for this new type of FII and other type of business. Sir, the investment, always quoting World Bank, but UNCAP, MNC's report, India within the first 4. Some other reports are here. I would not like to quote all these things. But how capital come to a country where the communal rights are the order of the day? How capital comes to a country where this gar wapasi of things are happening? How capital comes to a country where the church are burning in every day? How the capitals come to a country where the government itself determines the food habit of a society? This attraction of investment capital depends upon several factors. You are giving more and more tax concessions to the corporates. That is not the right way, sir. Then what is your tax collection, sir? It is short by rupees 1.13 lakh from the estimate. But we should consider, in addition to this estimate, the government collected more than 25,000 crore rupees as given by the answer to this house through the hike in excise duty of petrol and diesel. Even though the GDP rate, growth rate is high, even though the total tax collection is reduced by rupees 1.13 lakh crore, sir. Sir, then fall in oil price to the the government is not ready to pass it. The full benefits of the fall in oil price to the domestic consumers. The logic of minister, I heard in the other house, his speech in the other house, not convincing. It is a repetition of old theory of under recovery. Two parliamentary standing committees recommended to review the international parity pricing of petroleum products. Why the government is not ready to it? Now government is de facto regulating this market, giving more concession to the companies, sir. Sir, Jaitley changed the term revenue foregone to the statement of revenue impact tax incentives under the central tax system. Good. But what is the reality? Always arguing against our concept. This is for the this is as an incentive to give more dynamism to the economy. Yes. Then what is the logic for this, sir? The revenue foregone is estimated to be 43.2% of the total revenue for the year 2014-15. What is the logic? Then, sir, the tax exemption for corporate profit gained to industries located in cess are estimated to rupees 19,000 crore. Is it, man? It is an essential thing for boosting to the economy. Custom duty exemption given to the gold and diamond traders, that is 75,592 crores. Jaitley explained in the last reply speech. Which is they are import this gold, doing some work, creating employment. But is it compared with the Narega, the employment created under Narega? This is double than the money allotted to Narega. The customs tax exemption to the gold and diamond, that is double than the total money allocated for the Narega, which created crores of employment. I request the Honorable Finance Minister give a comparison the employment created under this gold and diamond traders along with the Narega, or give a specific figure how much employment you have created giving this type of tax incentives to different sectors. Sir, black money. The intensifying inequalities, that's a very important issue. 1% of the total, the super rich controlling 47%. That is the latest report, Global Wealth Database 2013. Then black money, the proposal for new legislation to address is a welcome step. But sir, this is the era of ordinance. The Prime Minister had given an assurance within 100 days.
Good point.
You are promulgating ordinance one in every 28 days. Why? You are not ready to promulgate the first ordinance to address the issue of black money? If your words are sincere, sir, then why are you not cancelled the double taxation treaties? Recently, Indonesia cancelled the DTA with Mauritius. Why? You are not ready for that? Sir, most of the FTA is coming from Mauritius, 42%. That is Indian money through Mauritius route. You have not taken any steps to control that, sir. Then staff shortage in various agencies. It's a serious issue, sir. As per your own ministry's report, staff shortage, this is not a political issue. The staff shortage across various agencies such as CBDT, ED, FIU, etc. has been estimated to be 30,000. ADB report, I am quoting ADB report, not our any left report. India is the most under-resourced and understaffed revenue bodies on proportion to the size of population. Have you any plans to fulfill the vacancies, sir? Sir, disinvestment of the temples of our modern India, 70,000 crores you are expecting. That is denationalization. We are totally against that. Sir, then one point, that is very important point, sir, again, corporative federalism. Some points already mentioned by our learned colleagues. I would not like to go to that point. That is a good step, increasing the transfer of 42% of the divisible central tax to the state. That is a good step. But sir, our demand is up to 50%. Sir, deeper examination, we can see that the total union resource transferred to the states has been decreased drastically. That is true. The state share of taxes and non-plans and loans to the state are also being increased. But the central assistance to state has been decreased drastically. The GDP percentage. The percentage of the total union resource shared to the state to the GDP has been decreased from 6.2% to 5.9% in this budget, sir. A decrease to the state share from as a percentage of GDP. Is it cooperative federalism? You are trying to mislead the country by implementing, yes, we are implementing the finance, that is constitutional mandatory things. That is, it's a progressive step. We support that. But you, de facto, consider this point also, sir. Last year, budgeted transfer was 7.75 lakhs crore, BE. But what is the real transfer? It is only 6.83 lakh crores, which implies a shortfall of rupees 92,000 crores from the budget estimate. If you are considering this, it should be again decreased, sir. This is not cooperative federalism. Sir, in addition to this, central government transferred the burden of several central schemes to the shoulders of state governments. The government has decided to discontinue 8 central schemes and the government changed the pattern of sharing of 24 schemes. The government is also going to stop incurring revenue expenditure on several schemes. De facto, the central schemes are effectively getting transferred to state governments, sir. Sir, another major issue, cut in social service sector. 5 minutes more, sir.
2 minutes.
While intervening to the motion of thanks to the presidential address, Honorable Finance Minister blaming Kerala for their revenue deficit. Yes, what is wrong with us? That is the difference of perspective. We spend more money on education. We spend more money on health. As per our opinion, that is capital investment. The investment on human capital. The investment on human resource. That is our perspective, that is capital expenditure. But your own perspective, that is revenue expenditure. You are thinking only physical as a capital, we are thinking about the human capital. That is more important, we are getting benefit. Honorable Chairman is always well aware that 1/4 of the state domestic product is coming from the non-residential India, Keralites. That is our benefit. Yes, we are facing some problem. That is second generation crisis. We are given education, quantitative change, but we have to make it qualitative change. We are made the land reform. Yes, we have to change it to productivity. Yes, that is second generation crisis. Our health index is very high, but we are facing in Kerala the elderly issue. That is second generation crisis. But we are not consider this is revenue deficit is a sin for, is a wrong activity of our own state. We think you are considering the growth rate. Our growth rate is very high compared to other state governments. Sir, actually this government is neglecting social service sector. The budget, this is the country where already our late colleague mentioned that the country where 1/4 of the population is poor, where the country where the largest number of malnutrition children are living, the country where the anemic pregnant women, the number 1 is living. This type of country, this budget is a total change of the concept of welfare state to total market oriented state, or as Sadish Misraji correctly stated that corporatization of a country, corporatization of a republic to protect the interest of the benefit, we are against this concept, sir. Sir, 2-3 more points, sir.
Enough you said.
Some important points, sir. The HRD ministry, education also.
He has to come there.
You,
I will come
Sir, he's
after
talking
this.
about your state.
eh?
Give him time, he's talking about your state.
Yeah.
Sir,
take a
HRD, education. Education is already reduced, already Satish Mishra ji mentioned that total subsidy component has come down from 2.1% to 1.7%. Sir, the amendment of land acquisition, actually, the national highway, the land to be acquired, 1,85,702 square kilometers. State highways, 2,63,798 square kilometers. Railway, 1,26,056 square kilometers. Total, 5,75,556 square kilometers. That means 31.9% of the total cultivated land the government is going to not acquire, taken away without any consent from the landowners. That would be happen if we implement the land acquisition. I have all details. If you want, we can sit together, sir. Then, sir, allocation of agriculture sector was rupees 19,000 crore in the last year, but this year it is only 17,400 crore. It was reported in the media, 4,000 farmers committed suicide in the first 5 months of the Modi government. It was reported in media. That is always continuing. The farmers are very serious crisis, but the government reduced the allocation to the agriculture sector, which is totally, this budget is totally against the interest of the farmers, sir. The growth rate in agriculture sector is only 1.1%. Industrial sector is only 2.2%. Where are you expect more? The service sector. What is the employment scenario? In IT sector, the TCS retrenched 30,000 employees. Most of the IT companies are started to retrench very experienced employees. Where are you going to create employment? Agriculture, no chance. Manufacturing sector, decreasing. Service sector, retrenchment is going on. Where is the new avenue for creating employment to the unemployed, educated youth in this country, sir? The budget is failed to address the serious concern of this economy, sir. Sir, allocation of ICDS has been declined from 10,000, already mentioned. I would not like to go to the details. Midday meal scheme is count down from 3,965 to 2,771 crores, sir. This is a serious issue. Sir, I would like to quote the budget speech debate by Mr. Arun Jaitley in 2012-13. The schemes, I quote, the schemes such as the midday meal scheme which are extended aids to remove poverty have been taken into consideration in order to determine the decline. So these are the people who still don't have enough to feed themselves. They are still poor, but because of schemes like this, external aids like this. Sir, I request you, please consider your own weight. How can you decrease the allotment to the midday scheme as per your budget estimate? Sir, I would not like to take more time.
Please
Only
conclude.
pinpoint four
Please
things for
conclude.
Kerala. That is increase of import duty. That is your own point, sir. Rubber, you are always demanding. The Commerce Ministry have submitted, not to this ministry. That ministry also, it was under the Mr. Chidambaram's table for more than 1 year. Now it is under your consideration. Please try to increase the import duty on rubber, sir. The fact package, the fertilizer and chemicals, Travancore, the largest public sector company, fertilizer company in this country. One package is pending before the finance ministry.
Okay.
I request to sanction this, and I request one aim for Kerala and the cancer center. Our demand to establish a cancer center, that was the dream of Justice B.R. Krishna here also. At that time, the then government has given some assurance. I request the government to declare one cancer, international cancer center to Kerala by this way.
All right.
I am trying to conclude, sir. This budget is totally to protect the interest of the microscopic minority, super rich of this country. This budget is totally against the mega majority of the people of this country. This budget is against the farmers. This budget is against the unemployed youth. This budget is against the children. This budget is against the SC, ST. This budget is against the minority. This words I conclude. Thank you, sir.